Come on, baby, light my fire. Hey, guys, welcome back to another episode, a brand new episode of Survive the Hunt. I'm super excited today because if you could tell by that little intro I just did, we're going to talk about fire. But before we rub sticks together and get warm, we've got some catching up to do, don't we, brother?
Yeah, we have. You're in a very musical mood today, aren't you?
I was. I'm sure you guys recognize that voice, or if you're watching the video, that face. That is the one, the only Jacob Hacker, my co-host on this show. And while we were setting up and pre-planning, I was also singing some Carpenter Sisters. So I'm very 70s musical today.
I wouldn't have picked up on any of that. I knew it was music, but
it's not good music.
I wasn't alive in the 70s, Billy.
Neither was I. Thank you.
Okay.
I was born in '80. No, I missed the 70s by 7 months, I guess. So yeah, it is funny, like at work and stuff, or just in general life, people will ask, "Well, when did you do this?" Or like they'll say, like, "Oh, when did you perform at Disney?" Or "When did you graduate high school?" Or "When did you?" And I always go, "Oh, that was back in the 1900s." The funny that I graduated in '99, right? So it's like the very last possible year you could graduate, obviously. But it still works. It still works, and they get a chuckle, and it works for me. And then they go, "Oh, you're older than we thought you were," which I guess is maybe a compliment, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I mentioned we have some catching up to do.
Yeah, but wait, before we catch up, I totally forgot to tell you about this, but I have a new segment I want to do at the beginning of the podcast for the next several weeks at least.
Is it Ohio State shirt of the day?
Well, no, but I am wearing an Ohio State shirt today.
I saw that. My Badlands shirt is kind of reminiscent of Ohio State colors.
I like it. I think they were thinking of football when they made that shirt. I like it a lot.
Okay, what's your new segment?
No, the new segment. I want to do a weekly white-tailed deer forecast. So I want to kind of give you my thoughts on what's going on with the moon phase, with the weather, with the phase of the rut we're in. So as people listen to this and they start planning like a week ahead hunting. So this one will air next week sometime probably?
Yeah, exactly.
So like a week
probably honestly like a week from today. So
12th or 13th somewhere in there is probably when you're listening to this now.
So this is hold on, while we're live brainstorming this.
Yeah.
We need a good name for it. So we can't use a rut report because that's already taken. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to come up with something.
In my head, I almost thought about doing this as a separate video every week and using my green screen and dressing up like a weatherman and having the map behind me and pointing to where the deer are going to be moving in this area. But it was just too much to put together. So maybe I'll do that next year. But it'll work just as good as the podcast.
If you film it on your iPhone, there's a really good green screen app on there.
Really?
Yeah, it's right in iMovie. It works really good. I made a little video of me the other day. I filmed the baby.
Yeah.
Right? And then I cut the baby out, and then I shrunk him down, and I filmed me with the green screen, and I had him float. I put the baby like he's floating right here as my sister's kid, and I was like, "Look I'm doing magic with your kid," and the kid looked like he was floating. It was pretty funny. Works really good. Yeah, it's right in iMovie.
And now you're not allowed to babysit anymore.
No. She made those rights vanish. No, that's a dumb vanish joke, whatever. Okay, so anyway, your weekly Survive the Hunt Whitetail report to be named later for the second week of October.
Yeah, well, so what I'm going to do is skip ahead to the next week. So we're going to start the week of the 18th through 24th. That's the week we're going to be talking about because I want you to have time to plan for the week of hunting. Yeah, so next week we'll talk about the 25th through 31st, but the
third week of October, and then are we going to center this basically around the general Midwest?
Well, we're going to center this on the latitude. So, New York, all the northern U.S., on down to about central Oklahoma, if you drew a line across right there. That's where
so we'd be talking about 46 degrees to probably about 32 degrees, somewhere in there.
Sure. I have no idea. But on the map, you can just draw some lines.
So the only reason I know that, it is not that I sound this smart, people. Where our cabin is, it's literally on the 45th parallel. And there's a bunch of a bunch of road signs and stuff, and they make a big deal like, oh, they're crossing the 40. And the 45th parallel is a little bit of a big deal because it's directly halfway between the equator and the North Pole. So there's 90 degrees. So they make kind of a big deal about the 45th. So where in Oklahoma is, I have no clue. I just threw 30 something out. I have no idea. So
all right,
so
well,
anyway,
that's generally
Michigan to Oklahoma. We got it.
Yeah, we're kind of going there. East to west, it's all going to be the same because whitetails are just working on a latitude. So that's kind of what we're talking about. But we're going to talk about the week of the 18th through the 24th. Billy, what are your plans the week of the 18th through the 24th?
Well, I will have gotten back from deer camp for a week, and I'll be back to work. I know the 24th Big Ten college football starts, so I'm excited for that. And that is a Saturday. But deer hunting specifically, I don't necessarily believe in the quote unquote October lull. But if you did believe in that, we'd pretty much be coming out of it. I would think at that point, my hunting strategy for that week, and we haven't talked about this, but would be to really start keying in and concentrating on community scrapes. Is not the smaller scrapes that they're making at night, but the big community ones. This week is probably the week I actively, like in my mindset, for me, think about, okay, it's time to hunt does, because, and I'm not hunting does to kill does, but I want to be where the does are, because they're not coming in obviously early enough right there, but I want to start concentrating on knowing where they're going to be in kind of, if I can pattern the doe groups as good as I can, because you're really, Halloween week is probably my favorite week to hunt. So I'm pretty much gearing up for what's about to come.
Okay, that's fair enough. And a lot of people hunt when they can hunt, and I get that. Like, you've got your deer camp scheduled and you're going to go up and hunt it. It's just what it is.
Oh yeah. It's a terrible week every year to go. The second week of October, it's like, why do we do this but we had a bunch of guys in the trades and stuff, and that's the week they get off.
Yeah, and maybe we can talk about the October lull a little bit later and what that is and what causes it and kind of how to avoid it. But for me, these next 2 weeks, all the way through really about the middle of the week we're talking about, the 21st-ish, my goal is to stay out of the woods as much as possible. I won't hunt a single day for whitetail unless I get a buck that's like patterned, coming in to feed or something every single day at the same time, and I get them on the cell cams. Otherwise, it's 100% stay out of the woods unless I need to be in there for maintenance, unless I'm putting out feed, checking cameras, something like that. Because it's not very productive hunting these next 2 weeks. The moon phases are wrong. There's just nothing really in your favor these next 2 weeks. I like to let my woods settle down, let my woods be like a safe haven for the deer, and not get in there and screw with them any. But as we look into the week of the 18th through the 24th, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd are the 3 days you need to look at hunting. So look for a cold front. If we get a cold front, the front edge of a rainstorm, the back edge of a rainstorm, any kind of weather event, those 3 days, I don't care if it's like 70 degrees and it drops down to 55 or 60. If you get any obvious change in weather, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, you need to be in the woods. You're going to have a really good moon phase in the evening. The mornings might be a little slow. I don't think I'd hunt mornings, but I'd try and get in the woods about 2 o'clock or so every day and hunt those 3 days. I think they're going to be really good days, and you're going to see a lot of buck movement those 3 days.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think when you said, like, a lot of people hunt when they can, I tend to agree. I know we've talked in the past, even on this show, when I said I don't necessarily believe in it. I think it was the myth, the whitetail myths episode.
Yeah.
And I think one of my myths was it's too blank to hunt. And what I meant by that is it's too hot. It's not the right time. The wind is wrong, blah, blah, blah. No, go hunting. So I think just you and I differ in that a little bit. Also, I like to hunt this week, mainly because the woods kind of do die down for me, especially in my public land spots. There's a lot of guys that they hit it hard especially when, like, if opening days on a weekend, so that like that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday gets hit hard. By the time the third week of October rolls around, the woods have quieted down quite a bit from a lot of that traffic in the public areas. So yeah, but again, hunt when you can hunt, and I guess Jake kills a lot of big deer, so his system obviously is working for him.
Hunt when you can hunt. If you're trying to kill does, if you're hunting public land, that's one thing. You can't control the deer pressure. But if you've got like a honey hole on public land that you're hiking way back into that doesn't get a lot of pressure, or if you've got private land, or you've got land that's all pressured around you, like most of my farms land are small. Like I say small, they're like 80 to 100 acres, which is small for a whitetail. And there's a hunter on every corner of that property. But if I stay out of my 80 to 100 acres, I'm making my 80 to 100 acres a sanctuary for those deer, and it's where they're going to get pushed these next 2 or 3 weeks. Which is why I like to say out. We're getting a lot of new bucks on camera right now, and there's no reason for new bucks to be on camera. The food sources changed a couple weeks ago. The reason they're on camera is because people have pushed them out of their core areas hunting. There's no doubt in my mind that's why. But for the deer to move, and specifically I'm talking big bucks. I guess I should clarify that. I'm talking about 4-year-old enough deer. You're hunting trophy bucks. It's that 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Look for a weather event. If it's there, hunt it. If it's not, keep staying out of the woods until we talk about what's going on the week of the 25th.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say that because here's the thing. I'm going to hunt no matter what.
Yep.
And if there happens to be a weather event on the days you're talking about, even better. So
I get it. It's something. It's just a different mindset. Hunting. I'm hunting strictly big bucks now for the rest of the year.
I get it. Yeah.
The best way to ruin your big buck hunting spot is to be hunting it right now, because most guys are not going to be successful. If you're looking at forums and message boards right now, it's everybody saying, I don't know where the deer are. I had this buck pattern and now he seems to disappear. I don't know what happened. Well, what happened is you introduce excess human activity into his area. You've got to let that cool down. If you bump the buck right now, it's going to take him 2 or 3 weeks to settle back in. So give him that time to settle in, but don't let him know you're in there chasing him. You got to take some time off. It's hard. Every year I go to Wyoming the second and third week of October. And one of the reasons that I hunt that week in that unit is just so I'm out of Ohio. So I'm not tempted to be in the woods when I start getting big buck pictures again at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 9 p.m., right after that first and last light. It's hard not to get in there and hunt him and think you can cut him off for food to bed. He's got to be on his feet in daylight. I just got to get a little closer to him. But there's no better way to ruin a big buck spot than to hunt it too early.
So I think I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I think the way maybe to appease both sides of this strategy or this not argument or what Jake's talking about is you mentioned honey hole spots, and I think that is a good way to look at it. If you just have a lot of spots, that's what I tell everyone: have a lot of spots. Like not everyone's blessed. You live in Texas, good luck getting public land. I get it, right? But pretty much in the Midwest, there's the hunting public guys have made an entire career out of going to every state they can, and they have great hunts. If you look for these pockets, so have a lot of spots. And if you have a lot of spots, you, like me, again, I'm lucky. Within even 15 miles of my house, I have 30 to 40 different spots that I could go pop a tree stand in between private and public, right?
Yep.
And these are spots I've been to. I mean, I haven't been there in a couple of years, but I know there's a white acorn ridge over at such and such township park that's open to bow hunting. I could go hunt it, right?
Right.
So when I say, get out and hunt your hunt, I generally am not hunting a single deer. That's different between me and you. So, or a certain age class of deer even, but I'm not always worried about, you said like the worst time to ruin your big buck spot is to hunt it. I'm not worried about that because really what that is I'm probably not going to sit in that same spot again. That's one reason, maybe 2 or 3 times a season. And the other reason is I don't have a quote unquote big buck spot. And if it is a big buck spot, I guess I'm ruining it for someone else. So
well, yeah, man, but
just
like
a different mindset. Yeah.
it is a different mindset. But like I guarantee you, like I've got a lot of big buck spots, but I guarantee you, if I was in there hunting them or putting hunters on stand right now, they would not be big buck spots for the rest of the year. That they don't get to be big buck spots because there's a lot of human pressure. They get to be big buck spots because it's somewhere big buck's comfortable. Like
right. And I guess what I'm saying is you care about that and I don't.
yes.
Right. So,
yeah.
But have you ever killed something big in this? I mean, can it be done? Have you ever killed something big in this time frame?
Yeah, I have. I killed a couple years ago. I killed a really nice buck. I think it was October 10th. I say a couple years. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. But it was a buck that was patterned. He hit a certain acorn ridge every single day around 9 in the morning. Like he had an early bedding area close by, and then he would get up out of that bed, hit that acorn ridge, and go bed back down. And I knew this from observation stands. I didn't have any cameras up at that place actually, but I hunted several observation stands, just kind of got closer and closer to him, and ended up killing him that way. But short of that,
didn't you kill on top? And we'll be.
Yeah, you know where this one is.
We'll be thinky. Didn't you kill on top of the hill early one year?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, that's the buck you're talking about. Yeah,
that's the buck I'm talking about. Way up the hill, guys. There's this hill that we go up, and Billy's been there turkey hunting with me before. We've literally climbed up there and like hung ropes so you can pull yourself up the hill because I'm not saying it's not walkable, but it's not walkable. With like a tree stand and a bow and camera gear, you can't get up that hill. Like, it's just too muddy and slick and steep.
It's not dangerous because it's not like rocky.
No, you would just slide back down into the creek.
Yeah, so it's not dangerous. It's technical. I guess that's the way, like think like a single track mountain bike trail where you gotta pick your spots and go here or there. That's kind of what this hill is. But once you get on top, it's pretty nice.
I took a guy up there deer hunting a few years ago, and he said, "Man, climbing this hill is like trying to climb up a kiddie slide that's full of chocolate pudding."
That's a really good analogy.
Yeah. Leave it to the North Carolina guys to come up with a good analogy.
That's really good. So,
but yeah, that's where I killed him early. But if you don't have a buck pattern right now, just stay out. Let them be deer for a little bit. It's hard. If you got a doe spot, now I do have a doe farm, and maybe we'll talk about this maybe this week or next week. But I bought a saddle because Billy talked me into buying a saddle. And I do want to hunt out of it. So I have a couple doe spots. And I've got farmers that are specifically asking for does to be taken off the farm. So I'll hunt those places. I'll probably try and kill a doe out of the saddle here in the next couple of weeks.
My saddle percentage has dropped. It's now I've only killed 50% of the time that I said.
That's rough, man. That's rough. Yeah.
But we're going to talk saddle hunting maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll talk saddle hunting. I don't want to jump into it too much, but we got through your the Jake Hackers Whitetail Midwest Michigan to Oklahoma report of the week. It's to be named later. Thank you.
If you guys have suggestions for a name, feel free.
Yeah, let's do that
because clearly between the two of us, I don't think we're going to come up with it.
But then we'll call it Jake makes a good point and Billy craps on it. Because he's not a good hunter. Me.
It's the old adage that Dave Ramsey says all the time, like never take financial advice from broke people. I always tell people don't take big buck hunting advice from people who haven't killed big bucks.
Oh no, I agree. Yeah. I don't claim to give you big buck advice.
Yeah. That means get off of Facebook and stop worrying about what people post in the comments. It doesn't matter.
That's a big buck right there. Right there.
That's a big one right there.
So, you want to shoot that, or you want to shoot that?
Shoot that one behind.
Those are on video. That's up to you guys. But okay. Speaking of shooting and speaking of hunting, we've added another kill to our list. Your insane early season continued this week, and you got another bloody arrow, sir.
It's been an awesome beginning of the year, but a lot of people know me. They know I've been shooting a Raven crossbow for a couple of years. I had a back injury several years back, and man, it just really set me back. It was just hard to shoot a bow. It's not that I couldn't necessarily get it back. it was just very difficult and kind of painful to pull a bow back. So I kind of switched to the crossbow. I haven't been hunting compound much, but I got hooked up with the new Matthews VXR 31 and a half and started shooting that thing. Dude, it's smooth. It feels good to shoot. Still building up like the back strength and the muscle memory, getting back used to shooting a compound bow. But, and there's been some tools that I've used to help me get back to form, but kind of like riding a bike, man. You pick one up and, the first day I was, shooting baseballs at 40 yards. Like it's a good shooting bow,
Yeah, definitely.
find out with what you know. But anyway, I shot it for a couple of days and dude, I just had the itch to hunt. I was like, I got to kill something with this bow. I got, people asking me for deer meat. I got a little bit of room in the freezer. I cleared some out here the last couple of weeks, but like, man, I'm going to go to one of these farms where the farmers ask for a couple of those to be taken off. And I got to pop one. I just, like, I could not be out of the woods. This is still September, I think. Was it? Yeah.
No.
September. Was it October?
Well, Thursday.
October 1st, September.
October 1st was a Thursday.
It was September 29th when I killed it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So September 29th, I think. Game Warden, if you're listening, it's on Facebook, the actual day. But I think it was September 29th. But no, man, just hopped in the blind and had these deer coming in at 7 o'clock every night. So I got in there at like 4 and got my camera all set up and had a little cold front that day. Had a big thunderstorm coming in, and 5 o'clock, here came a doe, 20 yards, broadside, not a care in the world. Never heard me draw. Shot it out of a ground blind. Made a good shot. I hit it a little far back though. I was kind of disappointed in myself because I'd been just driving tacks, with that bow, and for whatever reason, man, just hit him far back, and I hit her back of the lung, front of the liver. Deer only went 100 yards, but
yeah,
it was inches from being a leave it overnight shot, and it was inches from being a heart shot. But
I said it's also inches from being a heart shot.
Yeah, it's just kind of that middle of the body. One of those shots you get out and you find like the very first drop of blood, and then you decide if you're going to track it or not. I didn't hear it crash, anything like that, but found that first drop of blood, saw bubbles.
Bean field or okra or?
It's actually just a cover crop field.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's the farmer wasn't able to get in corn this year, so they got in cover crop. It's got some brassicas, sorghum, sunflowers. It's basically a giant food plot, honestly. It's terrific. Like there's just deer all over it, and how the beans are starting to dry up.
Right.
And yeah, so no, man, just kind of went. I couldn't find my arrow. It just got buried. Shooting out of a ground blind, it's hard to find your arrow sometimes because it goes a lot farther and it buries in the ground. And even having lighted knocks, I couldn't find it. But
it buries. A lot of times it'll bury in the ground horizontal or parallel to the ground itself. When you shoot out a tree stand, you go through a deer. A lot of times, you'll have that 45-degree angle. So shooting out a ground blind, it can be tough.
It's tough to recover arrows. I have not done good this year recovering arrows. We found the one from the buck my kid shot and didn't find my Kentucky arrow. Didn't find my Minnesota arrow. Or no, we did. We got the Minnesota arrow, I guess. So I'm about 50% on arrow recovery for the year.
You didn't find your Kentucky arrow?
No.
No. Wait. The Minnesota arrow you found.
Minnesota arrow I found. I didn't find Kentucky. Kentucky was like a 35-yard shot and it zipped right through that deer and just couldn't find it. I looked for a little bit and had a nice big bright lighted knock. Couldn't find it.
And those Raven bolts are expensive too.
Yeah, you put a Rage tri-pan on the end of it and a lighted Raven bolt.
$45 flinging through the air. There.
Yeah, I mean it's almost 50. Those lighted knocks.
Oh yeah, with the lighted knock.
Yeah, because you can't buy like a aftermarket lighted knock. You have to buy the Raven brand lighted knock.
Yeah, Mission does the same thing.
Yeah, and they're not very good. Raven crossbows, your lighted knocks suck. So hopefully they fix those. I think that's the exact comment I left on the review on their website. Your lighted knocks suck. They're not good. They always light up when you snap them in the string. They're impossible to turn off. They're just awful. I don't know why they can't make it better.
I haven't found a great lighted knock from any of the companies, and I've tried them all. And some people, so I end up going with Nocturnals. They work. They always turn on. They're just a pain in the butt to turn off because you got to put the little knife in there.
Thing in there, and yeah. That's what I'm shooting
Um,
too, but I'm shooting those strobing ones out of the Matthews. The
okay.
strobing nocturnals, I like those a
Yeah,
lot.
I've seen them. Yeah, I know Dudley shoots them. So, oh yeah, that's why you shoot them.
Dude, I didn't know who Dudley was until like 18 months ago.
So you
I'm
just
not a
happen to get flow green strings and all that.
well, there's a reason I got flow green strings, but we're not going to talk about that right now. But I did buy some arrows from him. I had them made. I mean,
Yeah,
they were cool arrows and they shot. I wanted to buy the Easton Axis anyway, but mainly
yeah.
I got them because they matched all the other green stuff on my bow. So I don't know if Lee Lakoski or Levi Morgan or somebody made green arrows. That's probably what I
Yeah.
would have bought.
Well, no, in all, I'm just busting your balls a little bit. In all
I know
reality,
you are.
if you were that big of a Dudley fan, you would have bought a PSE anyway. So it doesn't. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Owned a couple this. I killed my first deer with the PSE Nova though. Well, not my first deer. My first archery deer was with the PSE Nova.
Yeah. You and about 80% of every hunter ever had that PSE Nova. There, they had the PSE Stingray was the other one.
Yeah. I couldn't afford a Stingray. I was in the Nova price range at the time.
That's funny. It's funny you say that because I wanted the Stingray. So I was 18. 18. I remember I was at Ed's Archery. Was it Ed's? I can't remember. But I really wanted the PSE Stingray, and I did my due diligence. I went and shot bows, and that was the one I liked, and it was my first step up from a youth bow or whatnot. And I can't. It's like $75-$80 right out of my price range. Mom wasn't gonna budge, so I ended up with a Fredbear Epic Extreme 2.
Oh
and
boy.
34-inch bow, and it was so tiny, and everyone was like, that's the smallest bow ever, and it looks like a little kid's bow. I'm like, now I'm rocking a 28-inch. Right? So I mean, mine's 28, yours is 31 and a half. I actually like the 31 and a half better, but I got a good deal on the 28.
I like it too, but it's a lot more than 31 and a half because it's got those giant wheels on it. Like calling it a 31 and a half.
No, it's a 34-inch bow. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's a freaking giant. But it is nice and big and forgiving, and that's what I wanted out of it. But no, hey, you said Fred Bear, and before I forget, because I forgot like 5 times, I've got a podcast episode idea we're going to do. Everyone listening is going to absolutely hate it, but it's going to be crazy things Fred Bear said. Because the more I research Fred Bear and look at all his quotes, dude, I love the guy. Like, he did an awesome job, but he said some really silly things, and I'd love to.
Really?
I'd love to do a podcast picking this apart.
I know I introduced this as fire, but I mean, how do we not? This is kind of unplanned, but so Ted Bear has like Ted Bear, Jesus. Fred Bear has the 10 Commandments. That's where the T was coming in. The 10 Commandments of deer hunting, I believe.
Yeah.
Most of them are pretty solid, so I'd be interested. Like, don't step on what you can always step over. That's great. Like, that has stuck with me through years. I have taught my kids, whether hiking or geocaching or anything, don't step on what you could step over. That's like genius.
Okay. No, we're not doing this right now because you're gonna see my list of Fred Bear quotes, and I don't know. A lot of people aren't gonna like us, but
no.
I'm right. No, they're not gonna make me. Yeah, that's true.
I'm from Michigan, so.
I already said he's great. I said he's
in case you didn't know.
Awesome.
I mean, he's kind of an icon up here. His original plant was up here, but I have some negative things I could say about him too. Like when
I don't want to say anything negative about Fred Bear. I just think he has some really silly quotes that people post on Facebook and memes all the time. I think they're just goofy things. Right. Goofy.
Well, we'll talk about Fred Bear a different day. But my only downside to him is he moved his factory out of Michigan to Florida to avoid the union and unionizing and stuff like that, and to lower production costs. So
I like him even more now. I didn't know that.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of, I mean, he wanted to retire to Florida too. I get it, but still, it was Grouse Haven is still up here, and he's still obviously an icon, and he's I'm the web director of the Michigan Bow Hunters Association, which is an association that he started in 1946. This year's our 75th anniversary. So, okay. Are we going to talk about fire? I mean, we're half an hour in.
Might as well.
So what in the world are we going to title this one? Fire and Other BS Session or something. I don't know.
Works. We got time to figure it out. We're better at titling podcasts than we are weather reports. So,
well, yeah, there's always that. So the reason we want to talk about fire is because Jake, as a survival guy, survival instructor, he can rub sticks together and make fire. He makes little survival kits. He sent them to me. They're fantastic. He's got like 5 or 6 different ways to make fire. And I'm the dude with like a 3-pack of Bic lighters that I picked up at the Meijer as I was checking out. And I'm not a smoker, and I feel weird buying lighters. Like,
I always do too. Like, I'm worried somebody's going to see me and be like,
I know, right?
What's he doing? Yeah.
So, but I have lighters everywhere, and I'm kind of always been like a 1 is none, 2 is a few, and 3 is enough, or whatever that saying is. Like, I always have a bunch. Now, Jake's going to get into this a little bit later. He's going to tell me, oh, your lighters don't work at elevation and blah, blah. That's great. When I go to elevation, I'll worry about it. But they always work. So for us to talk about fire, I think the best way to do this is maybe I'll talk about what I have on me and what I carry. Okay. And then you can tell me what I should be carrying and why. And then you can kind of tell me what you carry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. I like it.
And are we approaching this from like a bug out pack survival thing? Are we what every hunter should carry? How do you want to frame this?
Well, we can do it like in the, I guess we can say it, not necessarily hunting, but woods people or woodsmen, you know, if you're going hiking, hunting, it's all the same, but maybe what you carry on your person, what you carry in your vehicle.
Okay. So if I guess we'll just start with me. Like I said, generally fire wise, up until this year, it was always just like a little pill bottle that I've taken cotton balls and I've rolled them in Vaseline and like a big size cotton ball. It's about the size of a golf ball, like the big fluffy ones. And when you put Vaseline in them, you can like roll them up real tiny, so they're about the size of a pea. You know, so they're about the size of a pea. And I have it used to be a film canister, but then I switched to a pill bottle because the pill bottle top won't come off as much. So I have a pill bottle full of those. And what you can do with so in addition to that, I would have generally 3 Bic lighters. Generally 1 in my pocket and 2 in my pack. I think I have 1 in my kill kit and 1 in the pack, you know, but and then, so generally what I would do is you take that cotton ball with the Vaseline on it and you can pull it apart and kind of, you're not going to get it back to its original size, and then lay that in some tinder and that'll, and just spark it real quick. And that will burn a long time, even if the tinder's wet and stuff. It keeps a flame until you can kind of feed it. I've never had a problem getting a fire started with one of those. I also have never lit a fire in a survival situation. So I've never tried to light a fire when I'm stressed. I've never tried to light a fire when I'm wet or cold or anything like that. So that may come into play later. But for me, generally, if I'm going to light a fire in a non-traditional means or with something like that, it's because I'm doing it for fun around camp. But it works. It's practice. Fun is practice, and it works. So that would have been in the past. Now, because we've started this podcast and I've learned from you, I do carry the survival tin that you sent me, and in there is a magnifying glass card. So and it works insanely well.
It does.
In full sun, that thing blew me away how fast it started a fire with just some dried leaves.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I had to take it away from my kids because they thought it was cool. And I was like, we're not going to burn down this campground.
Yeah.
So there's that. So and also in there is some char cloth, which worked really good. I was actually using the magnifying glass onto the char cloth. And there was some fat wood in there, which this year has been my mind. We did a whole thing on fat wood.
Right.
Go back in the episodes. So my mind's been open on that. And then am I forgetting something? Is there something else in there? Oh, and then a striker, right? Magnesium striker, a ferro rod. So
yeah, there's a ferro rod and there's a piece of flint in there too.
A piece of flint, yeah. So I have not done anything with the piece of flint. I don't know how to use it. I would have to like look up your YouTube videos on it.
Yeah.
But I figure, I've got now going into the woods this year, going on a hike this year, I've got a dedicated 6 different ways to make flame. So I think I'm probably more well prepared than 90% of the people that go in the woods.
I would agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything you think I should add, take out, not necessary, you would do different? Again, when it comes to killing big bucks, I say ask Jake, and when it comes to survival and fire stuff, I say ask Jake. So I'm asking Jake. Teach me.
So, I mean, dude, like, honestly, the Bic lighter's number one. Like, you should have that, a Bic, a Zippo, something windproof is even better. But, like, if you only want to spend $2 at the gas station, Bic is great. The downside and the reason to carry something extra than a Bic is they don't always perform in weather or elevation. So high elevation, like you said, like if you're going to go there, okay, I can plan for it. But weather, if you get a big lighter wet for an extended period of time, the wheel around that little striker and piece of flint that's in there will start to rust. And I've left them out in the yard, for a couple days just to see how they do, just with dew and stuff getting on them. They can be very, very difficult to light when they start getting wet and start getting rusty. The little port where the gas comes out can kind of rust up. So that's where they start to fail, and you start having failures of those. Also, if you can fall on them and bust them, the little cap can pop out the bottom of them. It's great. Like, I carry them as well, but it's nice to be prepared with something else. I think the Fresnel lens is awesome. It's super lightweight, like doesn't take up any room, weight, space at all.
It's the size of a credit card, but thinner.
Yeah, and it's the easiest way to start a fire. Just like you said, it's super. I mean, like 8 to 10 seconds, and you're getting smoke on something if you have sunlight. Yeah,
it was really cool.
Yeah, they're cool. But then the flint, I think, is always my number two. Like having just a flint and steel striker, a ferro rod, ferrocerium rod, magnesium rod, something like that. Ferro is kind of the most common and the easiest to strike. Or you can get like the magnesium flint combo like they use on Survivor. You ever played one of those?
Like the shave, where you shave a pile of magnesium down and then flint strike into it.
Yeah, you can get them at Meijer or Walmart or something for like $4, and you shave off the little thing and you strike. Those are pretty fun too, and they work good. They just take up a little more room and a little more weight, and the little flint can pop out of the magnesium, and then you've got a big problem. But
it drives me crazy on Survivor. We're talking about the Survivor, the game show, the TV show, reality show, when people are smacking their knife at it, just at an angle trying, and I'm like, no, put your blade on it and scrape down. Like, I'm just
nice and gentle.
Yep. If you're gonna go on Survivor, learn how to do it before you ever get anywhere near the island. What is wrong with you people?
It's like Survivor 101, man. Learn how to make a bird's nest, learn how to build a little fire, learn how to strike.
Especially because that's the tiebreaker. So that's when you win or lose right there.
It's the best part of the show.
I don't know about that.
You don't look forward all season to having a fire making challenge tiebreaker.
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying. No, okay. I think I think the Survivor auction was the best part, and then they don't do that anymore because the contestants figured out how to beat the game. Anyway, no. So I think you're good, and I think you're good on your fire starter, the little cotton ball or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I
did a video of some different ways to carry that, where actually you take a cotton ball and you can use Vaseline's fine, but I like them to be multi-purpose. So I'll use like Neosporin in one, Vaseline and another, chapstick on one, something like that. Anything that's oil-based and flammable, you can mix in there, and then I'll put them in a straw, like a regular drinking straw, and crimp both ends of it so it's waterproof. But then then my fire starter is multifunctional. So if I need it in a fire emergency, hey, I've got a little tube of Neosporin there I can rub on a cut, or I can pull the cotton ball out and light it, and it'll burn for a long time. But when you put them in those straw, I mean, just a little like 1.5 inch section of straw, you can fit an entire cotton ball in there.
Like a McDonald's straw. Even you could put a lot in there.
Yeah, I mean, but cut them down. Where I stick them, like I carry a couple in my wallet. Like they're just kind of shoved back in there.
Like individual. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm talking like inch and a half size straw. You can cut the top off; they work like a little candle, or you can pull the thing out, make a fire starter.
Yeah, that's better than using the full straw, because then again, it's single serve, or single use, and the other one's sealed.
Yeah, they're waterproof. You just heat up like a pair of pliers and then crimp
Yeah.
the end of the straw to start, and it melts them. We've got a video up on our YouTube channel how to do it. It only takes a couple minutes. It's pretty cool.
Gee, where would we
What?
have seen it? Where would we have seen using straws to transport things in this manner before in our daily lives? I wonder.
Anyway, so moving on. What else? I mean,
Thanks,
that's kind of
druggies.
it.
Thanks, druggies.
Thanks, druggies. Yeah, yeah.
No, sir, I swear it's Neosporin in a cotton ball. And they explain, what's this in your wallet?
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't listened to like every episode of the podcast or know us, it's because we both have law enforcement backgrounds, not because
Right.
we're both druggies.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should have put that out there.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid it because you didn't really hit the.
No.
We're on the good guy side of it.
Right. So okay.
Anyway,
You've already taught me something in this episode. I'm happy now. Like, that's a really good idea. The pill bottle thing is waterproof to a certain extent. I mean, they would float and whatnot, but I do like the portability of your system a little bit better.
well, and it's the pill bottle can get crushed. Like if you fall,
Right.
like let's face it, like if you're in a survival situation, you have to start a fire. Like there's been some kind of catastrophic event. And the odds of it being a fall, I mean, falls are one of the top ways to get injured in the woods statistically. So the odds of it being a fall are pretty good. And if you got a pill bottle in your pocket, the odds of falling on it are, 30% probably. So good chance it breaks. But also, if I'm going in the woods and I've got all kinds of stuff jammed in my pocket, I've got my rangefinder, my cell phone, car keys, wallet, chapstick, and stuff. Like, I just don't want another thing in my pocket that's going to take up a lot of room. If I can hide my whole fire kit in my wallet or my little IFAK kit, which is what I carry in my hip pocket, and that's where my fire starting stuff is, then I've got it there with me. It's out of the way. It's something I grab anyway. But backing up just a little bit on what you should carry, when I hit what you shouldn't carry. You shouldn't carry anything that you haven't practiced with or know how to use.
Good point.
Flint and steel, ferro rod, the Fresnel lens, Bic lighter, none of it works if you don't know how to use it and you haven't practiced with it and you don't know the basics of building a fire. I bet you would be, well, not you, but I bet most people listening to this would be surprised at how many people, if you handed them a Bic lighter and told them to start a fire, couldn't start a fire. Like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, like, you wad a piece of newspaper and you put some sticks under it, and if they're dry, hopefully they light. But what if they're not dry? Like, what if they're wet? How do you process firewood? How do you make a fire bundle? How do you take care of it if it's not ideal campfire making s'mores in the backyard conditions? And that's the knowledge that you really need to carry with you and take into the woods is knowing how to process down firewood, knowing how to start a fire that's going to last, and how to start it with the tools that you brought into the field with you.
And it's not hard. You just need to spend the time learning it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of technique into starting a fire with wet wood. I'm to the point now where I can start a friction fire with wet wood. I can take I don't think I did a video of it, but I had a Facebook post a few weeks ago where I cut down a green tree, living green, literally green when you peel the bark off of it. Cut it down and made a fire with it within, I think it was 12 hours. I made that one. Like, it took some drying cycles and cutting down, but actually made a friction fire out of a live green tree. Like, you can light wood on fire, but it's tough. If all the sticks on the ground are all soaking wet and that's all you have is what's on the ground, like, you've got to know, peel the bark back. Even if it's a little stick, the size of a pencil, cut that down like a piece of firewood, split it, open it up, shave off some wood off of it, make little curls, whatever you got to do to start catching spark and start as small as you can to build heat and a bigger fire. The difference in splitting wood and not splitting wood and how to make a fire last. There's just so much that goes into it, and you just learn it by playing. Like,
right.
I've got a fire pit in my backyard, and I probably make a friction fire 250 days a year.
Really?
Yeah, almost every night. Like, especially like right now, I'm not really working out, but when I was working out, like, I've got a little gym in the garage, and I'd work out at the very end of my workout. I'd go make a friction fire. If I was sweaty or tired or whatever,
it's good cardio.
Always make it. Yeah. I'd say in the last like 3 years, I've probably made like almost 1,000 friction fires. Because usually when I make them, I don't make one. Like, I'll make a bow drill ember, and then I'll start a little fire with it, and I'll put it in my little hobo stove, and then I'll put
Okay.
it out, start another one. I might make 3 or 4.
Or if it's
Just
4th of July, you'll make a fiction fire, then shoot fireworks off with it.
That's right. And that did not take one take, by the way. I kept knocking over the camera, or I had like two dud bottle rockets that didn't light. And yeah, so yeah, there were like 5 or 6 just that night.
Well, it was 3 a.m. We finally got the video done.
That's right. Neighbors are very happy.
Right. No. So, okay. When we were planning out this episode, we're like, well, how can we talk about fire for that long? But I think the main points that we've said, that you've said, basically what is have more than one way to make fire.
Yes.
And know how to use both ways. And
yes.
I think that would be two of the key points. And, in knowing how to make fire, the things Jake talked about was using wet wood, using, if you need to go find birch, or using what's around you, using the grasses and the leaves and stuff that are around you. Go practice with what is around you. And it's fun. Have fun with it.
It is fun. What kind of guy doesn't like to play with fire, or girl, but mostly guys like to play with fire. My kid thinks it's funny to tell my mom that he calls her Cha-Cha. He says, Cha-Cha, Daddy is playing with fire again. And then she tries to be all mad. It's a big running joke, but I mean, it's fun, man. It's a nice little peaceful stress reliever, connect to nature, burn stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like playing with fire?
I was almost gonna just laugh with you a little bit and be like, well, I got this orange whistle that has waterproof matches in it and a compass on the top, so I carry that. So I have matches.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Matches are a good thing to carry in the woods, though. And there's some now that are like waterproof, windproof, whatever proof matches. But matches are very reliable. I mean, you get a little wood with them, but if you do get matches, just dip them in some candle wax for you. You stick them in your pack. But they're a good thing to carry. I've got them in my camper trailer when I go hunting out west. I've got some waterproof matches in there just because you never know. I've probably got, I say like 3 ways to start fire. I bet I've got like 20 ways to start fire between either on my person or on my truck at all time. Just 'cause it's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, just lay a screwdriver across your battery terminals and.
It's a great idea. What could possibly go wrong with such a well thought out plan?
Yeah, hopefully the spark comes, catch char cloth, and you're good to go.
Saw MacGyver do it.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? All right, was that going to wrap up fire for us, you think?
Yeah, sure, why not? But if anybody listening has any questions or comments or wants to share the way you start fires, we'd love to hear it, see it, talk about it. So be sure to post in the comments or send us a message or something. We love seeing what you guys are doing out there.
Yeah, definitely. And no matter how you're digesting or what this digesting our content, if you're watching on YouTube right now, if you're listening to the podcast, there's definitely communities in both places, and we monitor those. So also our Facebook community, we have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. Everything you want to find is under Survive the Hunt. So If you normally watch us on YouTube, but hunting season's coming up, we're available as Survive the Hunt on every podcast app there is. Pretty much, you can listen to us while you're in the tree stand. I listen to podcasts in the tree stand sometimes.
Me too.
Especially if you got long drives to deer camp and stuff. Maybe you shouldn't be watching a YouTube video on your phone, but man, slam us into your earbuds or play us through your car speakers, and we're always having a good time making fun of each other and talking about the great outdoors. So I guess that's going to be about it for this week. Go make some fire. That's my goal for you guys. Go make some fire in the backyard, practice, and have fun doing it.
Yep. Have a great week, guys. Go Buckeyes.